So I chose this as the title for what I plan to share today. Making the bold presumption that there would definitely be pie. And there is. And I remember coming across this phrase in the late 90s when I was at another center and was playing around musically with a couple of women and started writing a song that had this as its chorus. And we didn't finish, but one of them did. She just went on and did it in another style, and that happened. But I love this line, because this line says, don't give up your tools, because there's more. Don't turn in your fork, because there's more. Not even that there might be. It doesn't say there might be pie. It says there is. One of the things that this might translate to in this teaching is the law of increase. And in this class that we're about to do, basically the law of cause and effect, the capital L law, the one law that says it is done unto you as you believe, and whatever you put into it, you get back in form of increase. It's broken down into all these different iterations. It's really all one thing. But the law of increase is this idea that there is something that connects with more. There's more is this infinite possibility, this endless field of possibility that already exists, this raw potential. And the realization of it happens through the use of these tools. And so today, one of them is a fork. And of course, there are different ways that we can use these tools and these laws. Some of them are constructive, bringing that thing from out there to us, so to speak. And some of the other uses that we accidentally, unconsciously, without intending to get involved in, are a different kind. You know, there's the American classic picture of the man and wife with the pitchfork. Well, you also see a lot of creepy scenes where people are using them for self-defense. So sometimes we can accidentally use a law or principle to destruct rather than construct, or to make things worse rather than better. The prevailing themes of what I wanted to share with you today have to do with keep your fork, there's pie, and how to get the pie is how do you know how to use the fork, that the pie is more, that we're talking about the law of increase, and we want to know how that law works so that we can use our tools, our thinking, our feeling, our speaking, and our acting in accordance with, in agreement with, in harmony with, in openness to our good. Because there is always the possibility that we will use all of that the other way. And the truth is that we do it pretty often. Ernest Holmes says that the way to get any law to deliver its goodies to you is to understand how it works. And to know that so well that that understanding has become a part of you. You think about it for a moment. When you understand how something works, don't we say that it becomes second nature? But for example, your first language, the one that you speak every day. You don't have to stop and think about how to use your words anymore. Anybody drive a 5-speed, a standard transmission at all? Okay, so in the beginning, it's all stops and starts and stalling and frustration. You wonder if you're ever going to get it. But then you do, and it becomes a part of you. And the clutching and the braking and the shifting of gears and all of that becomes automatic. It becomes a constructive habit that serves you to get from A to B. You also know how to stop. Start on a hill. If any of you grew up on hills, you had to be able to do that too. That was part of the test. I found myself on a hill yesterday. It was quite surprising. Yeah, because I had a few hours between when my seminar ended and my plane took off. And so I did something really bold. I looked at the map. On the map it was flat, but anyway. The place where we were staying, they said, we will keep your bag. We will give you a free shuttle to the train station. Then you can take a train into the city. You can take the train back to the station. You can call us. We'll give you a free ride back to the airport. And I thought, well, I could either be a real wimp and just sit here and journal for like 5 hours, or I can go do this thing. And I went and did it. And it was marvelous. And I ended up, I mean, there are parts of Seattle that are like San Francisco, you know? Wow, a hill! So, anyway, that was marvelous. That's a sidebar. But in any case, any law that we want to have deliver the goodies for us, we just have to understand how it works. There's this point that we reach of effortlessness once we study and practice and understand that thing. It's no longer difficult. It's no longer frustrating. It's no longer a challenge. Right? So all of the bounty, all the goodness of the whole wide world is available to us. And the way that we get it from out there to us, with our metaphorical fork, is that we understand how it operates. That is not a lifelong pursuit. That is a short, concentrated one. And you know, sometimes it can seem like we've been trying our whole lives to get something. And it's just hard, so why bother? But it's really not. We just didn't know where the fork was. We didn't know how to use it. And so we experienced it being difficult. As a matter of fact, because these laws and principles never stopped working, they amplified and multiplied our sense of difficulty and frustration, and said, you think it's hard? I'll give you hard. But it's not personal. It's just the activity of the law multiplying, amplifying whatever we put into it. So why not put something different into it so we can get pie instead of something that we don't like? It's all possible. So there are a couple things about the law of increase. One of them is that the law of increase works in expansion, in expansiveness. It is expansive. It accesses the expanse of infinite possibility. So contraction doesn't work. The other is that it is something that involves openness and results in flow. So, when we are not open, it can't flow to us and through us. So if we just look at expansion and openness for a moment, we think, okay, these are two things that if I can get them, that they will allow me to experience increase in the ways that I'd like to. Now what happens? The classic thing is that you get up in the morning and something wrong happens immediately. And then what? Oh, it's going to be one of those days. Right? And you will meet people out there who will say, yes, I agree. You're right. As a matter of fact, I think it's one of those years. Or maybe we're all doomed and that's just the way life is. If you start a day or even a moment with this idea that it's going to be difficult, is that expansive or contracted? Is that open or closed? Here's the rub. You know, I had this thing happen. I've been having this stream of, oh my goodness, how beautiful, how wonderful, how generous, how marvelous, how great, and experiencing the parts of me that were in contrast with that. I'm different. You know, I don't deserve this. I'm here by accident. It's going to end soon, you know, or whatever. And just saying yes, you know, and continue to acknowledge the that that was a false idea, and stay open to the good, and accept more good, and accept more good. Then I got to the airport. This would be my this week, anyway. Both of these trips involved 2 flights up, 2 flights back, okay? So I'm on my last of 8 flights in the past 2 weeks. And I finally meet someone who says that my bag is too big. At the gate. And she says, I'll be happy to check that for you for free. And I got ticked off. I decided to just dive into my old web, contract, right, and close. And I did this, and I told her that, in front of all these people, that my bag had fit everywhere else except for here. And I wanted her to say that she was wrong and let me go. And it was like, it was a knee-jerk reaction, and it was so foolish, it was over fast. I thought, okay, who are you? Where did you just come from? What do you know? And I got back into expansiveness. But in that period, in that narrow period of feeling otherwise, I have this dinosaur of a laptop that used to be the kind of thing that people would admire, but now they laugh because it's so huge. So I carried it all this way, didn't use it once. And it fits into this outside pocket of my suitcase, which is designed to go in the overhead compartment. But it must have been designed by somebody like me who wanted to take every last millimeter they could get away with. And if you stuff it, it expands and becomes too great, So I'm thinking, what about my laptop? I don't have any other way to carry this thing, And if I let them throw it on the plane, there's always the possibility that it'll never work again. And I had to make a choice. I was just like, get real, let it go. Does this feel good not to be open? Does it feel good to be contractive and defensive? No. Does it feel foolish? Absolutely. So what are you going to do? You got to decide. So I decided to open up again. I decided to put the laptop back into the padded compartment that was created for it, and trust the man who was standing there with his orange vest on, waiting for me to let go. And get on the plane. My laptop works because when I got home I did need to use it. It works just fine. And when I always bless everybody for their enthusiasm and their expertise and their joy and their pride. Everybody involved in designing and engineering and maintaining and flying and caring and all the air. There are lots of people involved in this thing. So I included this wonderful woman who took my bag away in my blessings. I got on the plane. This all really only happened in a matter of moments. And they announced. I didn't even get to my seat. I had 2-3 steps. All the overhead compartments are already full. So they were basically saying to me, if I had succeeded in getting away with convincing them I would have had a much bigger problem. They would have had to take it away and find a place for it then. And the fact of the matter is that me and my bags all got there, and it was effortless and easy, and I didn't have to struggle with any of it. The reason I say that is because we do this thing in here where we identify a need or a desire, and we look at how we can focus on it and aim for it and ask for it and be open to it. And this is about staying open so that it can get to us. And, not but, something that often happens is that anything within us that is in opposition to that fulfillment will arise. So I have this thing that when I pray, when I set my sights on something, and I make my declarations, and I do my best to act accordingly, I then watch carefully for what happens next. And no matter what it is, I say, I'm sure that this is part of my fulfillment, or it wouldn't be happening now. Now, I told you I had a moment where I thought, well, this is an exception. And it felt foolish, and it felt uncomfortable, and I separated myself from all the good people around me for a few minutes. But I quickly let it go. And as you know, when I got on the plane, I recognized how it was part of my fulfillment. Because I would have not had a place to put that bag. Plus, I've had to lift weights regularly in order to have the strength to, because it's, it's a mammoth load. It's like 40 pounds of, I don't know what, that I've got to lift up over my head without hurting anybody and get into that place. So that was a reminder to stay open. It was a reminder that no matter what it looks like, after I have made my declaration, something shows up, it must be part of my good. All I need to do is figure out which part. So, keep your fork, there's pi. We could say represents the law of increase. It represents the universe's constant urge to embody and to express and to experience in greater and greater ways by means of us. This is not the personal desire for more. This is not gluttony. This is life saying, there's more than survival. There's more than getting through a busy day unscathed. There's more. There's thriving. There's flourishing. And the best part is where I always seem to end up with all of this. It's not just that I get beyond survival. It's not just that I discover, even for a moment, what it's like to thrive. It is that something in my doing that for myself tells my friends and neighbors, my siblings, my community members, the other people that I encounter, that it's possible for them too. One of the things about getting out in the world and looking around so much and being back and walking among so many other different people from all walks of life is the desire to carry this out there in the best possible way, which is by word of mouth and word of being, word of demonstration, that more is possible. More than striving, more than warring, more than one of us getting whatever it is and one of us going without. So when you think of this cute line, and you think of forks and pie, remember that it's not just bringing it to your own mouth. It's about showing somebody else that the same thing is possible. It's about global transformation. And we have all the tools that we require. And I believe this is the time to use them.